And I think it's harder on sellers when the market shifts from sellers to neutral. It's like you said, it's a COVID hangover kind of thing. It's harder for them to believe that they can't get more money now than the guy got last year.
This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Troy, one of the things that's happening in our market is that we're finding that sellers are still maybe a little overpriced, and they're thinking, as we talked about before, they're thinking it still is a seller's market, right?
Correct. It's the COVID hangover, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, okay.
I want my neighbor got this 3 years ago,
I want that.
And I think that I think the prices are still going up, so I want that.
Right.
But realistically, we didn't have anywhere near the inventory that we had 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So when you look at a menu, so you go to Cheesecake Factory, how many things are on that menu?
Oh my goodness.
Gazillion.
It
I was
takes
just
a
there,
little while.
Crazy.
And you may end up ordering something that you didn't think you were going to order.
Right.
It's the same thing with homes.
Yeah.
So you might really go in thinking that's the home I want. And then down the road, there's another one and it's priced maybe a little bit more aggressive or effective for the market.
Sure.
Now I'm really interested in the other item on the menu. And so I think what we need to understand in this market is we're not in the same market we were. And as fun as it is, we're just not there. So why are you selling? What's the bottom line?
Yep.
Does it need to be rapid?
Yeah.
Can you wait a little while?
Right.
Do you want to play the market a little bit?
So if your seller can wait a little while and their model match down the street is 50 plus thousands less than them, do you tell them, maybe you want to take it off the market for a while? What do you say?
That's 100% an option. However, how long can they wait? Because that 50 grand to make back up, that's going to take a while, because now you have a factual piece of data that says your home is a model match to this, and this is what it's sold for.
And there's no promise it's going to come back. It might go another 50 the other way. There's a chance. We don't know what's going to happen. We have indications of what might happen, but we never know exactly what's going to happen.
What's the appetite?
Yeah.
What is
What's
the
the
appetite?
motivation?
What's the motivation?
So sometimes you're dealing with a seller who believes, like Troy said, hey, the houses were going up at 8-10% a clip. So last year this house sold for this much. My house should be worth 10% more now. How do we convince them otherwise? Because that's kind of our job, isn't it?
Right.
It's hard for us sometimes.
You battle with facts, guys. You've got you just speak the facts.
So, and this is more than one seller I've heard from.
Sure.
Well, hey, people can make an offer.
They can, but will they?
Exactly.
Well, you brought up a stat during the break that most sales are within 99% of list price.
Right.
That's how close we need you to be, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. We need you to be within 1% in order, because that's where they're landing.
1% of the most recent
Mm-hmm.
comparable.
Right. Yeah. So if a house sold for $100,000, you need to be listed no more than 102.
Right.
I mean, that's where you got to be. You got to be close enough. I always tell people, and I can't do this on radio so much. So guys, pull over on the side of the road so you can imagine what I'm doing. So I've got my hands. I got one hand up here really high, one hand here really low. And in the past, it would have been you'd list your house up on this high hand, and offers would come in here, and you'd meet here. Now it's like this. You've got to be closer to where you're prepared to land, because they aren't even going to look up there. Yeah. They're not going to look that far away.
I don't know how to verbally say you're helping sell the house down the street. Without offending,
so true.
Because it's not that you don't think the house is amazing, but you could cross that line and offend your client.
Sometimes I've heard some very prominent people in real estate say something to the effect, and I think it's a true fact. If I let this listing get expired, if I let this listing go on for so many months and it doesn't sell, and I say to my colleagues, oh, that's because the seller wouldn't reduce. That's my fault. Yeah. It's my fault.
Yeah.
I have to take responsibility for the fact that I could not convince them to listen to what the market was saying. Now, I always look at it, though, and I think Troy talks about this with us as agents. It's me and my seller against the market.
Right.
Right?
100%.
And I want you to win. But the market is there, and we have to deal with it. And so sometimes I have to tell you things you don't want to hear or that are maybe a little uncomfortable.
Well, we wanted the Golden Knights to win last night too, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, how about that?
It's not much different. You are battling the market, and the hardest thing to do as a seller, and even as a buyer too, but as a seller, the hardest thing to do, there's so much emotion in that.
Absolutely.
And they've already moved on mentally to where they're going, what they want.
Yep.
They're getting excited about that. They're already planning what they're doing. But this is where, as professionals, you've got to come in with the facts.
Yeah.
Here are the facts. Now, there are unique pieces in homes that could bring it up more.
Yeah.
I've seen many homes to where the backyard sells the home. It doesn't matter what the home looks like. The
Right.
backyard sells it, and you can get more for it.
Yep.
But what is that unique piece? Is it being marketed effectively? And is it enough to matter?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we have one. I know we have one client that we're dealing with right now, and their home is the same as a lot of other homes in the subdivision, except they have one less bedroom than everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a problem.
That matters.
problem.
And when people are searching, they're not looking for that. They're looking for this. And so when we talk about price matches, I got to tell you, you're losing a little bit of money because you don't have enough bedrooms.
Right.
And that's a challenge. And that's a fact. That's a hard fact. That's a reality. Even though you're the same square footage, you've got this loft area that they can't use effectively as a bedroom. It's a problem for a lot of people.
How about those beautiful single level laid out 3,500, 4,000 square foot homes with a 2-car garage?
Yeah.
Right.
That's a problem.
We were just dealing with this. Actually, one of our agents was just dealing with us, and she couldn't figure out why it wasn't selling. I'm like, right there.
2-car garage. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of builders don't like to add a lot of garage space because they don't get credit for living space.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're thinking, well, I can.
So what did you tell that agent? Like, do you need a price
It was
adjustment?
100% price adjustment. It was not priced effectively.
Yeah.
It was priced as if it had a 3-car garage. It had beautiful strip view. It was here in Summerlin. It was gorgeous.
Wow.
Except for the price.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I have 3 cars.
Yeah, when you have that much square footage, you would think you need at least 3-car garage for that size house, and it is a challenge. Same thing with the bedrooms. It's the kind of thing
that's
people are expecting, and so so when your house, that's a fact. I'm sorry, we can't overcome that unless you're going to add a garage somehow, and that's what you got to do. If you want to get their price, you got to have the same, and maybe you go beyond them because now you have more square footage or whatever. Maybe you're a bigger house, better house. Maybe you're a little bit better, but. Have you ever had a seller? It was funny. I was talking to one of my sellers the other day, and he says, Harvey, should we really price it that high? I said, that's a statement I've never heard ever from any seller in the history of my career.
I had a seller say that to me before.
Because every seller kind of believes their house is special. It's my house has this. I said, okay.
That's a motivated seller right there.
Totally.
He is a motivated seller.
house.
He is a motivated seller. But it's a rare bird that happens. But I think it is our job as their agent when they hire us to help them get their home sold, to use the facts to convince them to price it right. We can do all the marketing in the world. If it's not priced right, it won't help.
Yeah, but if you never can convince them,
Right.
Well, then I think if they're in a situation.
I do feel like a failure when that happens.
I do too. I take it personally. I mean, I really do because I let them know, geez, I'm not doing my job right because I can't convince you that this is what we need to do. And part of the problem is they feel like you're against them now.
Right.
And we're
that's
not.
Yeah.
We're not, guys.
It's the reality of the market that we need to make an adjustment. And if you don't want to make that adjustment, maybe you do pull that house off the market.
Yeah.
And I think it's harder on sellers when the market shifts from sellers to neutral. It's like you said, it's a COVID hangover kind of thing. It's harder for them to believe that they can't get more money now than the guy got last year.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the median price has been pretty flat. And it's been flat in spite of the fact that the luxury market is on fire. It's been flat. So that kind of tells me that the other segments of the market are not on fire.
Right.
So.
And as a seller, something to think about, if any of you are looking to sell the home, something to think about is this. If your agent asks you to sign a change order up front to say, look, after 2 weeks, we'll go with your price, but after 2 weeks, if we don't see any action, I need you to sign this right now to know that we have to move to this because you got a limited amount of time to where that house is sexy.
There you go. That's right.
So
they do
it's
get
just
stale.
one thing, just think about that. Or just think about that up front or ask your agent for that. Say, look, I get it. I'm priced a little high. Don't want to lose my opportunity to sell this house in 2 months, 3 months, whatever you need to sell that home for. But please be open to that, to adjusting downward, because that really will help that professional not only market your home effectively, but know that you're in it with them.